Hello, everyone. So I'm sorry that I could not be in class with you guys today. As you know, I am working on some IEPs today. So what I wanted to do with you instead was I created a worksheet that I recorded myself doing. And since I created it into an Edpuzzle, you are going to be able to answer a couple of questions along the way so we can kind of act as if I am there asking you the questions myself and you can answer, which will help me fill in our worksheet. So our worksheet today is just practice of what we've been working on the past couple of days. And then when I'm back tomorrow, we can talk about something a little bit different. So to start off, we have here our formula, which we've gone over a couple of times now. So we know that that formula involves 3 letters and multiplication. So the multiplication part is already written for you. And those letters are P, R, and T. Okay, so now what do those 3 letters stand for? It's very important you remember the 3 letters, but if you don't know what they stand for or you don't know what goes in place of those 3 letters, it's not going to help you too much. So we're going to start with our letter P, and P stands for principal. Okay, so our principal is the amount of money that we start with. So it's the amount that we deposit into our savings account. So how much money we have in our savings account. Then we have our R, which stands for rate. And our rate is always the percentage. So your bank might give you 5% interest or, I don't know, 3.5% interest. So it all depends on your bank. So it's just the percentage. But as we know, we can't leave our percent as a percent. So our rate can't stay as a percent. Instead, we need to convert it to a decimal. Okay, last but not least, we have our T, which stands for time. This was our focus of yesterday's lesson, and we know that time could refer to months or days. Okay, and as a little reminder, if it's monthly basis, we're going to create a fraction with a denominator of 12. If it's on a daily basis, our denominator is going to be 365. Because months, there are 12 months in a year. Days, there are 365 days in a year. Okay, so that's all depending on what the problem is asking for. So here, let's go over a couple of reminders before we solve to see what we can remember. Let's start with number 1 here, which says interest can be calculated either monthly or daily. Okay, so monthly, I basically just gave this to you guys. So if it's monthly, it's going to be out of 12. That's going to be our denominator, right? And our denominator is the number on the bottom. And then if it's daily, it's going to be out of 365, which is also in the denominator. Okay, so that's something that you need to remember when we're solving. You're looking for keywords. If it says monthly, then we're going to go with 12. If it says daily, we're going to go with 365. So you have to be on the lookout for those terms. All right, next, number 2. When converting our fractions to decimals, we have to divide the what? So when we're converting our fractions into decimals, this is what we did yesterday, what are the 2 numbers that we have to divide? So we could say it's the number on top, but that has its own name. That's called the numerator. And I'm going to put down here, in case you forget what numerator means, the number on top. Then we take that number and we divide it by the denominator, which is the number on the bottom. Okay, moving on to number 3. The rate cannot stay as a percent. We just talked about that. You have to convert it to a decimal by moving the decimal point 2 places to the left. Right? Really quick review of that. If we have, let's say, 20%, we can't keep it as 20%. We need to move the decimal place 2 places to the left, but take a look here. 20 doesn't have a decimal point, so how can I move it 2 places to the left if no decimal point exists? Well, hopefully you guys remember that if there is no decimal point, we put it all the way at the end. We put it at the back. And now we're going to take this and we're going to move it once. Now it's right in the middle. And twice. Now it's in front. So we moved it twice, so it's in front, 0.20. So that's how we go from percent to decimal. All right, back to our review. Number 4, last one. If a number has to be rounded, we always round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, and if you don't remember what number is the 100th place, I'll remind you, it is 2 numbers or 2 places after the decimal point. So I'm going to show you quickly. If we have this, let's say we have 3.267. And I asked you what number's in the 100th place. Well, it's 2 numbers after the decimal point. Here's your decimal point. After it is 1 number, 2 number. So here we go. It's 6. Okay, that's your 100th place. And here's a little reminder for you. 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. Okay, so let's move on to some examples. We're going to try it now. First one, Emily deposited $850 in her savings account. After 3 months, the interest was computed at an annual interest rate of 5%. How much simple interest did her money earn? So very first thing we should do is write down our formula, which is I is equal to P times R times T. So the goal here is to fill in some number for P, some number for R. Let me use a different color. How about this? And we'll go green. Some number for T. So I'm going to, using the yellow highlighter, I'm going to highlight what should go in place of P. So P is our principal, right? How much money does Emily have in her savings account? And if I read this problem again, the only amount that I see is right here. So she deposited $850. So the yellow and the yellow match up. So we need to put $850 in place of P. That P can disappear. Okay, now we're going to go back to pink, and I need us to highlight what goes in place of our rate. And remember, our rate is our percent. So you should look at this problem and figure out, okay, what is the rate? What is the percentage? So read it over, and I see right here the interest rate is 5%. But can we leave this as a percent? No. We need to take that percent and we need to move the decimal place 2 places to the left. So remember what I said before, I don't see any decimal point, but you can put one at the very end. You can kind of create your own. It always goes at the end, and now move it. We're going to move it once. Here's once. We got to move it again. But now I have this empty spot, so we got to fill that in with a 0. All right, so there we go. 5% just turned into 0.05. So that is our R. So I'm going to put R as 0.05. Okay, and now we need to go to our T. T stands for time. So I need to look in this problem. Let me zoom out. I'm going to go to now green, and we're going to highlight where we see anything about time. So this is either going to be monthly or daily. So you're looking for the word months or you're looking for the word days. So if you take a look, what is our time? I see 3 months. Okay, so here we go. We have 3 months, but this is what we practiced yesterday. I can't leave it like this. We have to first write it as a fraction and then move it over to a decimal. So let's start with our fraction. If it's monthly, our denominator should be 12. And when we convert this, we divide. Remember, 3 divided by 12 equals, okay, 3 divided by 12, 0.25. Okay, so that's your time. Let's highlight that again in green so we know. Time is 0.25. And we're almost done, guys. So you just did you looked around, you did all your work, and you just got to finish this off by multiplying this together. So 850 times, I'm doing it in my calculator to the side here, 0.05 times 0.25 equals, sorry about that, $10, 0.625. Be careful. This does not look like money. There's something wrong here. We have way too many numbers after the decimal point. I only want 2, right? So we have to locate the 100th place. What number is in the 100th place? 1 number, 2 number. Remember I said it's 2 after the decimal, so it's got to be 2. Next door neighbor is a 5. So if 5 or more, raise the score. So since it's 5, we have to raise the score. So that means that number that I underlined, that 2, has to raise to a 3, and we are done with that number. Okay, there we go. We got through it. Let's do second. Eli. Here we go, Eli. Eli's bank computes 4% on a daily basis. He has $1,400 in his account for 12 days. How much simple interest did his money earn? All right, well, we know our formula. I equals P times R times T. P is our principal, so how much money does Eli have? Eli has, we're going to start with yellow, $1,400. All right, moving on to, we're going to go to pink here. R for rate, we're looking for percent. So how much percent of interest are we computing here? So I see there is a 4% interest. So 4%. Should I just put 4 here? No, we got to convert that. 4%. We're moving it once, twice, fill in a 0. There we go, 0.04. Last but not least, time. Let's go to green. T for time. Now be careful here. We're looking for either months or days. So do you see any months here or do we see days here? I see daily basis for 12 days. So we are talking about days here. Okay, but be careful. We can't just put 12, remember? We got to turn it into a fraction first. What should my denominator be if it's daily? 365. Okay, and then we can go to our calculator. We need to do 12 divided by 365. And we get, probably a long decimal here, 0.032. We can round this. We can just keep, here's our 100th place. Next door neighbor is a pretty low number. It's 2. It's 4 or less, so that means we let it rest, so that 3 has to stay. All right, so we got 0.03 as our time. And we are almost done. We filled in everything we needed to. That is great. Let me just highlight again so we see that the green matches up. And now we're going to put this in. So 1,400 times 0.04 times 0.03 is equal to, not a lot of money here, $1.68. That's how much interest Eli earned. Okay. Sorry, Eli. Looks like Emily made a lot more money than you. All right, let's look at last one. Teddy. Teddy deposited $2,300 in his savings account. After 6 months, the interest was computed at an annual interest rate of 5.5%. How much simple interest did his money earn? So we are finishing this problem by starting with our formula. And we are looking for P. So we need to start, I'm going to use yellow. Looking for our price, principal, how much money we start with. So Teddy, he starts with $2,300. Our rate, we're going to go to a different color here. Pink. We're looking for a percent. So if I look carefully, I see we have an interest rate of 5.5. But once again, we can't keep it as a percent. This one is nice because the decimal is given to us. So we're going to take that decimal and we're going to move it twice to the left, once, twice. And in that big empty spot, we're putting a 0. So we got 0.055 as my rate. 0.055. And finally, last but not least, we're going to highlight our T for time in green. And I want you to look carefully. Do you see months? Do you see days? So what is our time here? 6 months. So it's monthly. So we take that 6 and we got to put it over 12. Right? And when we do 6 divided by 12, right? Because that's our math here. 6 divided by 12. And we get 0.5. All right, so let me highlight that in green. So T for time is 0.5. All right, so we have all of our letters. We're almost done. We just got to put this in the calculator. So we got 2,300 times 0.055 times 0.5. This one comes out to quite a lot here, actually. $63.25. And that is how much interest Teddy is going to earn. Okay? So, you guys finished today's worksheet, which is great. Hopefully, you were able to answer some of the questions along the way. I think we've spent a decent amount of time on this so far, so I hope some of this is starting to stay in your memory, starting to click a little bit, make a little bit more sense. And that is about it. All right, guys. Thanks for your hard work, and I will see you tomorrow.